want to give a shout out to Blue Raider Nation. Man, we get a chance to be back home, and I tell you what, they've done a terrific job, man, of showing up. And I really want to start with that as we get into the month of October, which starts this stretch of midweek games. So for us, that's what Conference USA has done. That's what it's known for. And, when October comes around, there's a lot of things happening with October. But the Blue Raiders hope and expect to play their best ball in the month of October. We look at it with the opponent being Missouri State this week, and we've had 11 days off, right, until this contest. And so that allowed us to really step back a little bit, do some self-scout, evaluate, where we are, players, plays, coaches, schemes, and really, dive deep into, okay, who are we? What's our DNA? Okay, what have we done well? And what do we need to do better? And just really focus on those things as you talk about playing good football. As we went through, just looking at addressing issues, fundamentals, situational football, penalties, turnovers, execution. Those things were really the focus. So we were able to take the earlier practices and just really focus on fundamentals with a little bit of Missouri State. And then we went from there to just full Missouri State. What we expect to see from this group is a well-coached team by Coach Beard in his third year. This group has a quarterback who can really spin it. Really, at the end of the day, man, he's as good a quarterback as we'll see. I know he got hurt in the last game, but we fully expect him to play. And if he doesn't, his backup, Deuce, will step on the field and give us a different type of quarterback. So we fully expect to see the starter. But if Deuce steps on the field, we'll be ready. So we prepare for both quarterbacks. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks this year. That seems like not a new consequence for us. So I think we are ready in to play against multiple quarterbacks. And one of the biggest things we found out, and we knew this, but it's really what the tape tells you, right? Okay, we've been playing two opponents, not one. Okay, the man in the mirror as well as the team across the way. And I think it's clear when you get a chance to watch the tape, truly clear that, a lot of those things are self-inflicted. Those things are things that could be cleaned up. I think this team has been moving in the right direction, for a minute, but you want the end result, and that's what everybody looks at. So for us, man, we need the end result. We want the end result, but that comes because we make it so. So now what I'll do is turn it over for questions.
Coach, what do you think is going to be the biggest issue or biggest problem that you all will have to face against the Bears, especially this being their first year in Conference USA?
You know what? They're a good team. They came out of FCS, as a program, who won, 8 games a season ago. So, really what it comes down to, you look at that program and what Coach Beard has done. He's been there. He's been able to put his DNA on it. And they've got guys. They've got weapons. When you look at, who they are offensively, again, man, they've got a running back who's pretty darn good. Lawrence can play. And then when you look at the wideouts, man, they've got some explosive guys. But when you got a trigger man who can spin it around, and you got a veteran secondary with a solid front and some really good linebackers, man, that lets you know, man, that he's done a really good job of building that program. So they're 2-3 right now. We know what we are, but this is going to be a game of wits and will. Okay. We got to worry about what we do. I know they're going to be a good team, but it's not about what they do. It's really about what we do.
They've been really good out of the gate. They've led and scored first in all 5 games so far. What's been the key to their early success?
I think it really has to do with how that group plays together. They do a good job of getting off the fast starts. The run game, the quarterback, and he's surgical in terms of what he does, with the ball. Obviously, when he went out, in the last game, and it looked a little different for him. So that changes a little bit of their dynamic, a little more run versus pass. But what I will say, I think a lot of it has to do with the trigger man and his experience and his composure.
You experienced midweek Conference USA play last season in your first year at MTSU. What are some things you learned last year that you can take into this slate?
It's hard. Okay, I mean, the first thing I'll tell you, from a Tuesday to a Thursday to a Wednesday, you come out of that thing and you can feel punch drunk a little bit. I think going into it, you think, man, it's not that bad. Man, you go through it and it feels a little different. So for us, I thought, having the time, looking at our schedule, understanding where we are, and getting a little bit of time to go into this, has helped this team like tremendously. But having gone through it together as a staff, I think it makes it like a little better. I think guys know what to expect, and really for us, it's just been about, okay, what do we need to do? Okay, like let's get to the business of that, and then let's get them off their feet.
Come off the bye week, how did that help you guys, not only from just getting rest, but also from the standpoint of maybe cleaning some things up or working with the guys a little extra?
Yeah, we scratch where it itches. I mean, those things that I talked about, man, we had turnovers, right? Penalties, staying ahead of the chains, situational football, all those things. I mean, red zone football. All those things were sort of areas that we focused on, man, but they weren't new to us. I think, man, it was sort of like popcorn. It was like this showed up here, this showed up there. Okay, well, then all of a sudden next week this showed up, that showed up. The biggest commodity is execution and finish, right? I mean, the idea of cleaning up penalties, guys know they got to do it. We understand that we need to take care of the football, and those untimely penalties have been costly, right? So you show those things, guys see it, and then they really just like refocus, man. You got to put it in a rearview mirror. They can't get you 4 or 5 times. So like the reality of it is, man, we're a better team. Having had 11 days to really see who we are and what we need to clean up.
And Connor mentioned it just a little bit ago about this being your second year in the midweeks of CUSA. Last year it was kind of a little bit different because you guys played like 3 games. I believe it was like 13 days or something like that. This time it shakes out a little bit different with you guys having the bye after this with Delaware and all that. Kind of how does that just impact your schedule, having the gap instead of just the cluster of games?
Well, I think for us, it allows us to look at our schedule and say, okay, how can we establish a rhythm? Right, because that's really what you're trying to do in a time where there really is no rhythm. You're trying to establish some. I think the rhythm is going to help us, if I'm being honest. And I think with that, our guys, I got veterans. I got some older guys, man, who've been through it much more than me. So, I just asked those guys how they feeling, what does it look like, and then, man, we're just adjusting our schedule to make sure, man, that we can't get enough rest. And there's school, there's a lot of things like in between, but we want to play good ball. So, in order to play good ball, let's set the schedule for what it needs to be. Let's be smart, and let's maximize the time.
And then Chip brought it up a little bit ago. Missouri State starting off fast. You guys have kind of tended to start off slow. What do you guys have to do to come out hot on Wednesday night?
Start fast. We don't need to make it up, right? I mean, we know we need to start fast. That's been somewhat problematic. I mean, there's times when we come out well offensively and slow defensively, and vice versa. I think, man, we just need to put it together, and I think they know that. That's not a gotcha question. It's just one of those things where, man, you got to do it. You got to make it happen.
Yeah, Coach, Missouri State's defense has kind of struggled against the run at times, and you guys toted the rock pretty well against Kennesaw State. Do you think that can maybe carry some momentum into Wednesday?
Yeah, I think for us, man, we just want to be as dynamic as we can be, right? We want to play our style of football, and what does that look like? We want to we want to tote the rock, but we also want to throw the pill. I mean, we're not gonna slow down. We just want to execute better. So, like for us, whatever that looks like that's what we're going to try to do. We think we've got a rotation of offensive linemen. We know what they can do, and I'm always going to put the ball, in our quarterback's hands and let him go. So let's do what we do.
The last 2 games, you guys have been in it, until the very end and didn't come out on top. What's it going to take to, come out on top this Wednesday?
Got to finish. We've talked about it a little bit, right, man? It comes down to 3 things, man. You got to step to the middle of the ring and fight. Okay, man. You got to continue to have faith and believe in one another, and then when it comes down to it, you got to finish. And for us, those 3 things have to be front and center when we play a ball game, right? So that talks about playing fast. That talks about being good in the middle, okay? And that talks about man, really how we finish ball games. And if we do that, I think we'll like the results. But that hasn't happened for us yet, right? When this team plays a 4-quarter ball game, man, I think it'll be lights out.
Morning.
Nick, when you're playing on a Wednesday instead of a Saturday, how does that kind of change your game prep?
In years past, when weeks have kind of been condensed and we've had like less time than like per se like a 6 or 7 day period to prepare for a game, it's definitely changed that process. Now coming off of Kennesaw, we had about going about like 10 days, so that didn't really change our process as much. I mean, obviously, if anything, it allowed us to have a little bit more time to watch film, understand who we're playing as an opponent. I think Coach Mason and the staff, they created a good schedule for us. Coach Blatnick was able to get a few extra lifts in, which he was happy about. But I mean, no, look, as players, like we had a few days off more than we would. I think it allowed us to get our bodies back, but we had some really good practices in between then, and then we kind of got on our normal week schedule, and it was business from there, and we're just attacking it the same way we would like per se a normal game week, and game planning and game prep has been very good. I thought practices have been very good, and we've kind of gone from there, and I think our guys are ready to go.
As you watch film and evaluate Missouri State, what are some things that stand out about them on defense?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have a experienced secondary unit. The guys have played, guys who are a little bit older. I think that experience always helps defensive units, especially in terms of communication. They're athletic in their front seven. Their D line's an athletic unit. They move. They can rush the passer. They can defend the run. And then obviously in their linebackers run sideline to sideline. And I think when you're looking at a linebacker unit and you get guys who run sideline to sideline, it's tough. It's tough to create momentum sometimes, but I mean, we're going up against a good unit, and I think we've prepared well. And at the end of the day, we just got to do our jobs, and we got to make sure that ball is moving forward, and we're getting positive yards each play.
Coming off bye week, I know for you, you're the leader of this team, really trying to make sure that they're developing on both sides of the ball. But for you, what have you been telling them in the locker room, in the huddle, just to make sure that they're continuing to develop?
Yeah, the message doesn't change. Whether you're on a short bye week, a full bye week. You're coming off a win, you're coming off a loss. The message never changes. I think that's one thing that people, tend to overlook, or people who aren't in it every single day with us. You're like, well, you guys are coming off a loss. What are you going to do different? It's like, well, we don't. We're not going to do anything different. The message from the coaches is the same. Our work ethic is gonna remain the same because we have a good group of guys who have been working hard since the summer. And I think we just got to continue to grind and chop wood each day. And we have a solid group of leaders in our locker room, and guys who want to be better, young guys who want to learn and be better. And I think, like I said, we put together a few practices of good competition, and then we put together a good string of practices getting ready for the game. And message doesn't change, the work doesn't change, and we just got to prepare.
Couple of things. Number one, Kennesaw, you had 10 different receivers catch balls. Mm-hmm. The 2 weeks prior to that, you had 7 in each game. I know it's got to be a little satisfying to get more and more guys involved. What's been the key to that?
Yeah, if anything, it just shows you the depth we have in terms of our playmakers. Obviously, we have a really deep wide receiver room, guys who can make plays all over the field. Our tight ends do a tremendous job, and then obviously our backs. They continue to do a tremendous job, whether it's running the football or catching it out of the backfield. I think at the end of the day, guys just need to be ready when their number's called. I think that guys have done a really good job of that. No matter what their job calls for. If it's for them to come in and block, then they're going to block their tails off. It's for them to come in and run a route and make a play in the air, then they're going to do that. And got full confidence in everything and everyone we have on that side of the ball, whether it's up front, whether it's skill position wise. Anyone who comes in that game, I know that they're going to be ready to play, and I think it's a testament to how hard they work, and hopefully you continue to see more of that, and we could just continue to get better and move that ball.
The next two are against Missouri State and Delaware, the two new teams in the league. Both are moving up from FCS to FBS, and they don't look like. They I guess in this new era of college football, that line has become much more blurred. Right. They fit right in so far. And have you had a chance to, especially now that the schedule gets where it's to the wonky part, you can watch more games, and you had a chance to watch those teams?
Oh, yeah, obviously for us, having played Missouri State this upcoming Wednesday, we definitely watched a lot of them. And like I said, when you watch them on defense, their D-line plays tremendously fast. Their linebackers fit well. They play sideline to sideline. The back end communicates well. And then, really outside of one game, They've gave everyone issues. They gave SMU some fits. They created turnovers early versus SMU. They kept it tight. They played a good game versus Marshall, and then they gave Western Kentucky a good close game late into the fourth quarter. So at the end of the day, we're playing a good unit. Same for Delaware. We had some time, watched their game versus Western the other day. That's another good team that's joining our conference. And at the end of the day, anyone who we play is going to be a good unit. Everyone has playmakers. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to execution. We have to execute our jobs and our responsibilities, knowing that we're going to play a good unit here on Wednesday versus Missouri State. And at the end of the day, we just got to do our jobs and finish and go from there.
Bodie Reeder moved down to the field last week against Kennesaw State to call the plays. How does having him on the sideline just kind of help improve communication a little bit?
Yeah, I wouldn't. It's funny. I wouldn't even say I talk to Coach Reeder more so now. Coming down the box. The first couple of drives versus Kennesaw, we would watch the previous drive together on the sideline. But then as we kind of got going, when we come off and as the defense is on the field, trying to get us the ball back, he likes to think about the next drive and script for the next series. So really, it didn't really change much. I was talking with Coach Gans and the rest of the offensive coaches on the sideline for, just any slight adjustments that we had going into the next drive. But, if anything, communication gets clearer, at least, P and 10 situations when that first play going onto the field to start a drive. But other than that, it was good. Thank you, guys.
All right, Anthony Bynum now.
Good morning.
Anthony, Coach Mason mentioned it before about the slow start last couple games. How do you guys as a defense avoid that this Wednesday?
We just gonna start fast. We be having a lot of tempo periods in the beginning of practice, so we just gonna start fast and gotta communicate better.
When you look at the front seven this year as opposed to last year, it's improved quite a bit. Have you seen those guys develop and get better over years of work?
Oh yeah, we got better as a whole. It's just playing the reps we play, the experience, ain't nothing better than game experience.
For you, you've been a constant leader on that side of the ball as well, but what are you vocally trying to tell your teammates just to make sure that they're coming out fast, they're coming out strong, and just really creating pressure up front?
Yeah, we just gotta start fast. We just gotta get our blood hot. Gotta build a wall, set an edge, track a help. DB gotta play lockdown coverage and gotta get the ball back to our offense.
For you all coming off bye week, I know Coach said 11 days where you all kind of had more time to look at things for you and for your D-line. What have you all been seeing from Missouri State that you really want to make sure that you crack down on?
Missouri State got a very good offensive line. The QB, we might see two QB, but the first QB, very good QB. They got two dynamic receivers on the outside. And the running back, he a pretty good running back.
Energy-wise, what have you been seeing these past couple weeks that you've been proud of from your D-line that you all really want to continue to grow on?
I just I intensely playing up front. We been playing great. We've been building walls in the edge, but knock back. We've been playing good up front.
You saw Shamari Lawrence last year at FIU, and obviously you watching tape, you've seen him this year a little bit.
Yeah.
What impresses you about him?
He's a pretty good offensive tackle. I battled at FIU last year. He did a pretty good job, and this year at Kennesaw, it was a good battle between us. He improved a lot.
More questions? Good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate it.